Hello, this is Rob, and on R&B Reviews I'm going to be doing my second St. Patrick's Day themed video, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing two films that are somehow tied in with Ireland and the Irish people. And the first one I'm going to do is on a film called Evelyn from 2002. It's about a young girl whose mother abandons her father, Desmond Doyle, played by Pierce Brosnan, and her two brothers in the late 50s after Christmas. And because of his current unemployment and because of an Irish law that the children cannot be raised in a single-parent home when both parents are still alive, they are taken in to live in different orphanages. And Doyle then starts the task of trying to get his children back, including challenging the law in the Irish Supreme Court. This movie is based on true events, and while I felt that the film had its strong war moments and some occasional funny ones, I felt like the movie was not quite as dramatic as I would have thought it could have been. I felt like an observer checking in on Doyle and then going over and switching to the daughter in the orphanage. At times the movie does have some sugary moments, like in the last act of the movie where I think it kind of falls apart a bit, and it's during Doyle's speech at the trial. I felt it was just a bit cliched, and it didn't really help that there was this strong, music behind it to up it up a bit. But I did end up rooting for Desmond Doyle, and I enjoyed the colorful characters like Doyle's father. This film moves briskly, and I got some amusement from it, but one final thing. There's a bartender character played by Juliana Margulies who befriends Doyle during the tough time, but later on in the movie, she just seems there just to be there. I mean, I felt like she no longer added anything to the story, and I would have liked to have seen her played up a little bit more in the end. But still, I thought Evelyn was decent, and I think it's an enjoyable movie. And next is a movie that holds a place in my family's DVD collection. It is the musical Finians Rainbow from 1968, which was based on the 1947 stage musical. The film stars dancing legend Fred Astaire and 60s pop singer Petula Clark. Astaire plays Finian McLonigan, who with his daughter Sharon immigrates to the U.S. to try for a better life and to try and make it rich. They settle near Rainbow Valley by Fort Knox. Finian has stolen a pot of gold from a leprechaun and plans to plant it by Fort Knox so he can get rich. And meanwhile, in Rainbow Valley, a dreamer named Woody Mahoney is trying to get rich himself by mixing mint with tobacco and putting them together. And the people in the valley are being threatened by the racist Senator Rawkins. And on top of that, if that's not enough, the leprechaun Og is on Finian's trail and is slowly turning human and is hoping to convince Finian to give back his gold. It's kind of amazing how you see a movie as a kid and later as an adult. We used to watch this movie every St. Patrick's Day, and I just saw it as nothing more than a fantasy comedy. And now, as an adult, I noticed that this movie is definitely more of a social satire of the time. I even went out and dug up my mom's old copy of the record album. We used to play that a little bit too, but yeah, there's that. When this movie came out in 1968, the happy musicals from MGM and Warner Brothers were pretty much on their way out, being replaced by darker musicals like Cabaret. I enjoyed the music of this movie and most of the songs, and it was nice to hear strings and horns as a break from the modern scores we have that uses instruments like electric guitars. And I also like the photography, especially in the opening credits when Astaire and Clark are walking through a field. Astaire as Finian, I thought, brought great energy to the movie. I mean, he was nearing his 70s, and it looked like he had not slowed down at all. I mean, his Irish accent does leave a lot to be desired, but I think he does very well in what ended up being his very last musical. And during the movie, I did end up thinking back on his musicals he made at MGM and with Ginger Rogers over at RKO. The film does not have the glitzy look of those films, but the sets here did feel realistic, like small-time buildings from that particular time period. Also, Astaire is not wearing his trademark suits, and instead he's wearing frumpy clothes. And finally, he is often seen dancing outside on locations as opposed to the sound stages from his older films. 60s British singer Petula Clark, who did stuff like Downtown and Don't Sleep in the Subway, I thought made a nice Sharon. And British pop star and comedian Tommy Steele, I thought was very funny as the leprechaun trying to get his pot of gold back. I thought he was perfectly cast because he had that sly smile and those twinkles in his eyes, and he and Astaire, I thought, were really great together in their scenes. But I thought some people might find his Irish accent, a bit stereotypical at times. And I've read reviews online, both from professionals and from regular people like myself, who thought that he was annoying, and I think on some occasions he can overdo it, but I did not find him annoying at all. I thought he stole the show in a lot of cases. Character actor Keenan Wynn plays the racist senator who is passing a segregation law to break up Rainbow Valley, where everybody, regardless of their skin color or ethnic backgrounds, lives and works together. The movie was directed by Francis Ford Coppola before making some superior films like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and The Cotton Club. And this movie was not filmed until the late 60s because of the satire on racism, and in the late 1940s the studios just didn't want to touch it. I think there are some elements that may shock a few people today, but there are some funny ones too. For example, when the senator visits Rainbow Valley and announces his segregation law, Finian says that this cannot be a legal law and asks if the senator has even read the U.S. Constitution. And the senator replies, "Look, I don't have time to read it. I'm too busy defending it." You know, there's some funny little stuff like there. And while I enjoyed this movie, I did have some problems with it. For one thing, the movie runs at about 145 minutes, so it can be a bit long. And the DVD includes an overture at the beginning of the movie and an intermission and then a music into the second act of the movie, which I think people are just going to fast forward through anyway, regardless. And it seemed like there were a lot of odd cuts in this movie. Like, for example, there's a scene where Astaire is in the forest and he falls into a tree. In the next shot, he is already up and he's drinking out of his little bottle. And during a song, Woody, played by Don Franks, is singing to Petula Clark. And one shot, he is sitting and looking at her. And in the next shot, he's looking up. What the hell happened? What's with the editing? Finally, I don't know if a lot of people notice this as much as I do. When I went to school, I did study audio mixing, and I worked a little bit on some stuff. But I don't know if people are going to know this, but for me, I could tell what dialogue was dubbed in post-production and what was done on the set. Because, I don't know, I mean, for the most obvious one for me was when Senator Rawkins is visiting Rainbow Valley and he's shouting at people. When he's shouting, it sounds like he's talking in a hollow room when he's actually supposed to be outside. I should probably add this as well. But speaking of slow spots, when we used to watch this movie, my mom used to fast forward through our old video copy through a song called Devil Moon because she thought it slowed the movie down. Now, while it's not the best song in the movie, I don't quite agree with that. I think Finians Rainbow, it's a nice film. I think some people will like it more than others. I think some people will find it a little bit out of date because maybe like the racism theme, I don't know. But I recommend renting it and at least giving it a shot. I mean, it may not be the best musical ever made, but I do like it very much. Okay, so that's it for my St. Patrick's Day video, so feel free to leave any comments about the video or about either of these movies if you have seen it. And I also, last year I did a St. Patrick's Day video, and if you want to look at that one, I will try and post it as a video response to this video. So, thank you very much for watching, and have a good day, and a happy St. Patrick's Day.